Hey, hey, hey. We are so back. I'm never leaving you again. Don't you all worry. We are here to stay. Ya boy is now an affiliated streamer, which I am just whew, so damn happy about. Whoa, look at all this. What the hell's going on here? Holy hell. Layout one. Oh my god, there's so much going on here. Oh, wow. Where the hell's my ads manager? That's right. I'm advertising to yous fellers now. Whoa. Let's do ads manager. Let's add that panel. No thanks. Okay. Ads are starting in 5 minutes. That's a little soon. I don't really need this. We'll keep the stream preview open a bit. Ads manager can be small. I have infinite channel points apparently. So yeah, wow. Run it. Wait, what? Wait, what are my ad settings? Hold on. Well, whatever. Let's just get started with some warm up. Sloptuber. What's going on? What's funny? Palette. Oh, we can watch more Tim Pool. No way. Wouldn't that be just so very fun? Could check out what the fuck is going on with the China tariffs. I'm really not 100% sure. It's let's see. But there's so much going on. Yeah, there's like drama slop, but I really don't care at all. I mean, I do, but that's for me to care about and you all to ignore. Or, I mean, we can do that on stream, but I don't know why anyone would want to. I mean, yeah, I try to keep my ethos of this stream pretty clean of like, just let's read and slop to a minimum. Obviously, you can hang out a little bit on the sloppa side. Could do Tim Pool, could do Pierce Morgan. Is there anyone that apparently Musk had a pretty stupid interview. So let's do that. Let's do some Elon Musk slop, right? That seems okay. I don't want Pac-Man show. The ketamine consumer. No, I don't want to. I don't want to slander. Jesus, getting good mixed mythical morning. Let's see. All right, my ad is about to start. Oh boy. I don't think anyone is here. So that's fine. Yeah. We'll see. All right.
To begin this.
All right. What do you got? I'm gonna start this after the ad, I guess. Because I really don't want to give too many ads, but oh man, whoever just tuned in, you're about to get an ad, unfortunately. But it does mean I am not partnered, but affiliated streamer. So we're gonna watch some Musk shit to warm up. And then when Master Liberty joins, there's gonna be well some constitutional talk. Damn. We're recovering also. Pre-roll ads are disabled for 32 minutes. Wow. So of course proven. No. I'm trying to look for more like influencer bait. I don't know. I'm not Danny Gonzalez, but there was a whole fame manager influence growth course. Good look at what Grant Cardone is up to. Not you, I want some real slop. I don't want any of this goddamn. What's this? I'm on the hunt for slop. You will find. All right, cool. Ad's over. So let's. Jesus. I don't know. Maybe we can do that. Let's watch this.
This morning, a man who truly needs no introduction, Elon Musk. He's talking with David Pogue.
He is a truly incredible guy, and I don't say that often.
In the beginning, Donald Trump and Elon Musk got along great.
Take over, Elon. Yes, take over.
Musk spent $288 million to elect Trump and his allies.
And they've also got to address the deficit. So
Trump invited Musk into the Oval Office and cabinet meetings. Musk called himself First Buddy.
You got to give him credit.
Trump welcomed Musk's idea to create a Department of Government Efficiency.
This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy.
In 4 months, Doge took the chainsaw to every federal department. 250,000 workers were fired or bought out. Musk even slashed grants and staffing at environmental agencies like the EPA and NOAA after decades of warning about the risks of climate change. But Musk did not enjoy the pushback.
We received several 911 calls about a fire.
There were acts of violence, death threats, lawsuits, mandatory rehirings, shouting matches with cabinet members. Tesla profits plummeted by 71%.
Number one, it's a great product.
And Musk's net worth dropped by $100 billion.
No, that's beautiful.
Last month, Musk finally left Washington, but still intended to work on Doge a day or two a week. And this past Tuesday, he offered us an interview at SpaceX's enormous headquarters at the southern tip of Texas.
To Elon Musk ketamine complex.
We knew we were in the right neighborhood when we saw this huge bust of Musk installed by his admirers and vandalized by his critics. But the interview didn't get off to a smooth. But Musk was willing to talk about the Doge firestorm.
Where most songs use
You've spoken about
lyrics,
how
no clue.
much of a grind and a stress it was on you.
And, Tesla's reputation took a hit. Your reputation took a hit. People are very upset about Social Security and national parks and air traffic and food safety and cancer research, Alzheimer's research. Now they've had a chance to look at it.
Yeah, it's only Tuesday.
Might there have been a different approach?
Yeah, I think what was starting to happen was that, it was a bit unfair because, Doge became the whooping boy for everything. So if there was some cut, real or imagined, everyone would blame Doge. I've had people think that, somehow Doge is going to stop them from getting their Social Security check, which is completely untrue.
Well, I guess I was just thinking about the, move fast and break things, before you really understand what the agency does.
Yeah, I guess
NASA
part of it
probably?
is depends on where you're coming from. So, I'm like a proponent of smaller government, not bigger government. So now if somebody's a proponent of more government programs and bigger government, and they see, hey, Doge is cutting all these government programs, then they'll be fundamentally opposed to that because they just think the government should do more things. I don't know. That's just a fundamental, I guess, ideological opinion.
IVs, probably.
But my frank opinion of the government is that the government is just like the DMV that got big. Okay, so when you say let's have the government do something, you should think, NASA. Do you want the DMV to do it?
And then Musk started talking about the Trump administration.
Uh-oh.
I hadn't even asked him
FEMA?
about Trump.
And
oh yeah, I do want to talk about FEMA.
It's not like I agree with everything the administration did.
And some Save Act stuff, but that's in the domestic policy
I agree
section.
with much of what the administration does, but we have differences of opinion.
Yes.
There's things that I don't entirely agree with. But it's difficult for me to bring that up in an interview because then it creates a bone of contention.
I pass.
So I'm a little stuck in a bind where I'm like, well, I don't want to, speak out against the administration, but I don't want to. I also don't want to take responsibility for everything the administration is doing.
In Washington, federal workers say that Doge has left the government's operations in disarray. And worst of all, it might have all been for nothing. Musk claims to have saved the government $175 billion so far, nowhere close to his original target, or even his revised target. And that was before the president's new spending bill passed the House. According to the Congressional Budget Office, it will add $3.8 trillion to our debt over the next 10 years. It's now being debated in the Senate.
So, I was disappointed to see the massive spending.
Came along, everything he's done on Doge gets wiped out in the first year.
I think a bill can be big or it can be beautiful.
I'm thinking of the
but I don't know if it can be both. My personal opinion.
And here's where the story gets a little
What you fucking expect?
President Elon Musk, in a television interview, criticized the one big, beautiful bill.
Within 24 hours, Musk announced that his time in the Trump administration was officially over. Out of Doge, out of government. He said that the reason was that his limited 130-day stint as advisor was ending. But until that moment, he'd been saying that he still intended to work on Doge part-time.
Doge is going to continue, just it's as a way of life, and I will have some participation in that. But as I've said publicly, my focus has to be on the companies at this point.
Truth is, the Trump-Musk relationship had already seemed to be cooling. Trump used to post about Musk about 6 times a week, but by April, he'd stopped mentioning Musk altogether.
Today it's about a man named Elon.
Still, on Friday, they held a media event at the White House to confirm their mutual admiration and to leave the door open for future collaboration.
And Elon's really not leaving. He's going to be back and forth, I think. I have a feeling.
The Doge team is doing an incredible job. They're going to continue doing an incredible job, and I'll continue to be visiting here and be a friend and advisor to the president.
Musk might be the first to admit that his Doge experiment gave him a black eye. Like the actual black eye he had on Friday, which he says he got from his 5-year-old son, or the matching one on that statue. At least for now, Musk says that his focus will be running his business ventures: Tesla, Starlink, X, XAI, Neuralink, Optimus Robots, The Boring Company, and SpaceX. Are all of your businesses related in some way?
Well, I guess you can think of the businesses as...
Is there anything happening with The Boring Company?
Improve the probable trajectory of civilization. So, for making life multiplanetary or extending life.
What started as a simple tweet
the idea there is to
there we go.
ensure the
all right, help me out with this
survival
goddamn
of
crossword.
life and consciousness as we know it.
We're going to use this launch to kind of further accelerate.
After our interview Tuesday, we were invited to witness the 9th launch of his Starship, the biggest rocket ever built. The two previous Starship tests ended in explosions, or as SpaceX puts it, rapid, unscheduled disassemblies.
A drip?
So all eyes were on Test Launch 9 to see if a Starship could return to Earth in one piece. As Musk left our interview to watch the launch, he said something that could summarize all of his enterprises. I can't guarantee success, but I can guarantee excitement.
We'll see. We'll see.
In the end, Elon Musk's giant rocket spun out of control.
There we go.
It did not survive re-entry.
Okay. Let's see if The Boring
has now evolved into the most anticipated project of 2025. After years of working behind the scenes, The Boring Company made headlines in 2024 after expanding its Las Vegas Convention Center tunnels to locations like the University of Nevada and Westgate Resort. But what if I told you these achievements are just the foundation for a series of groundbreaking projects that Elon Musk has in store for 2025? Imagine self-driving cars, the fastest tunneling machines, an extensive network of underground tunnels, and more, all at incredibly low costs. This video will take you behind the scenes of everything we can expect in 2025. Are you ready? Let's dive in. On December 17th, 2016, Elon Musk was probably stuck in Los Angeles traffic when he tweeted something out of pure frustration. "Traffic is driving me nuts. I'm going to build a tunnel boring machine and just start digging." For most people, that would have been the end of it. Just another random thought shared online. But Musk isn't most people. Minutes later, it seemed like he had already started thinking about how to make it happen. That one tweet turned out to be the beginning of The Boring Company, one of Musk's boldest and most surprising ideas yet. The Boring Company was created to solve a problem nearly everyone can relate to: sitting in traffic. Musk's idea is simple. If roads are too crowded, why not go underground? The goal is to build a network of tunnels that allow cars and public transport to move at high speeds without the usual congestion. Instead of getting stuck on surface streets, vehicles would zip through underground loops, cutting commute times dramatically. Musk sees this as a way to not only make travel faster, but also...
I don't want to watch fucking Musk's shit. It doesn't fill me with joy. Alright, let's watch this. Alright, that was fun. Alright, let's
now
see
more
Bill
of
Clinton
Tracy
has to
Smith's
say.
conversation with former President Bill Clinton.
So last time we spoke was November, and in December you had a health scare that landed you in the hospital.
Yeah, it was. It turned out to be no big deal, but it was. I basically kind of lost my balance, and I knew I was sick, and I went to the hospital and checked in. They said I was severely dehydrated, and I got great care, and I left the next day.
And how's your health now?
As far as I know, it's great. But when you're older, you have to be more careful to stay hydrated.
Speaking of aging, there's this book that came out that talks about Joe Biden and the people around him seeing that he had cognitive and physical decline. Did you ever have a moment with him where you thought maybe he was unfit to run for president? No.
I thought he was a good president. The only concern I thought he had to deal with was, could anybody do that job until they were 86? And we'd had several long talks. I had never seen him and walked away thinking he can't do this anymore. He was always on top of his brief.
You never saw any cognitive decline.
So I didn't know anything about any of this, and I haven't read the book. I saw President Biden not very long ago, and I thought he was in good shape. But the book didn't register with me because I never saw him.
Help me out.
Why didn't you read the book?
I need help with this.
I didn't want to.
Crossword, man.
Because he's not president anymore.
Brutal.
And I
can't hate this thing.
And I think we are facing challenges today without precedent in our history.
An itch?
And
let's listen to Bill.
Some people are trying to use this as a way to blame him for the fact that Trump was reelected.
At this point, do you think there are any limits to President Trump's power?
Oh, yeah.
Who's stopping him?
The courts. The courts, including a lot of judges he appointed. And you know, he is looking for ways to basically defy all these court orders. But I think he'll have a hard time doing that.
I have no idea.
And if he does, I think it will hurt him in America. I mean, look, we've never seen anything like this before in my lifetime.
Chat, I
Somebody
need
says,
this.
whatever I want should be the law of the land. It's my way or the highway. And most Americans don't agree with that. And I think...
Hi, Connor. No way. The Beadley Twitch empire begins. Yeah, welcome. Cat. It's wonderful. Do you even have any idea what this could be? I think it's Abaddon. Expensive theater boxes. Lobos? Llamas? I'm in the car. Oh. Well, you can listen to Bill Clinton in your car ride. Bill Nye the blowjob. I don't fucking know. You know, I need to put the joke disclaimer over that one.
If the Democrats win
something like that,
the governorship's at stake in this year, and can win the House back next year.
Gotcha.
But I think that he's paid a price for.
I just think this could be like X out.
You know, name calling and throwing his weight around. I think.
What price?
I think it's made him less popular to the point when, look, only elections are going to change this. But I do think the courts are getting their standard up.
Like a diagnosis.
I think that him shutting law firms out of representing their clients.
Oh, yeah.
Before federal.
Everyone forgot about that. The law firms that he blackmailed into doing free work for him and not prosecuting him. That's fun.
Agencies and in federal buildings because he doesn't agree with their position. That ain't America. We've never done that. The whole purpose of having a legal system is to have both sides be heard.
Do you worry that the only thing that unites the Democratic Party is a hatred of Trump?
Whatever. I'm going to do.
It's the only thing everybody can agree on.
If I thought that were true, I would, but I don't.
Stubborn as a mule, right? Calm? What? Stubborn as a mule, right? Stubborn as a horse? Stubborn as a...
I don't think it's true. I just think that most people don't have any idea. Most people who are criticizing the Democrats right now have no idea how difficult it is to decide the right thing to do. I think it's not as easy as people think. That will come. Elections will happen. And we will see. President Trump has a right to do what he thinks is right. He's doing it. The courts are doing their jobs. There will be other elections.
That doesn't make sense to me.
But someone needs to stand up and say, damn it, what we have in common matters more. We cannot throw the legacy of this country away. We cannot destroy other people's trust in us. We need to preserve that and find a way to work together and not humiliate other people just so we can win. We got to just calm down and try to pull people together again. That's what I think.
Stubborn animals. All right. Cool. Thanks, Bill. All right. We did that. I don't want to watch Musk slop. All right. We have the education secretary who apparently is defending deporting deporting students and not allowing visas. So that's a lot of fun. So that'll be first topic of the day.
So thank you. All Americans should have the opportunity to receive a high-quality education from preschool through post-secondary education. I know that education is a key to success and vital part of maintaining our strong communities across the nation. I've seen it certainly firsthand in my home state of West Virginia, where I actually began my professional career as a college counselor and advisor working closely with many first-generation college students. Through this role, I was able to personally see how education provides students with life-changing opportunities. Secretary McMahon, you have taken charge of the Department of Education at a critical time for our nation's students. According to the latest National Assessment of Educational Progress scores, students have still not recovered from pandemic-related school closures. National scores on math and reading are worse than pre-pandemic levels in all tested grades, and in reading, students' scores continue to decline. A third of 8th graders are not even reading at basic level. And that, I think you would agree, all of us would agree, is unacceptable. We know that throwing more money at the problem will not lead to a solution.
All right, I thought that
These
was
devastating declines in achievement are in spite of almost $190 billion in COVID relief funding provided for elementary and secondary education during the pandemic.
I should know this.
Federal education spending at a minimum should be focused on ensuring that Americans' children can read and write at a basic level. This is critical not only for children to flourish, but also for us as a nation to be competitive. That is why I strongly believe that federal education spending should support states and policies that afford kids the greatest opportunity to learn and achieve academically. Education decisions should be made by those closest to our students, those who know what they need to succeed. That is local schools, local teachers, local school boards, and most importantly, local parents who are right there with their students. Formula grant programs like Title I, IDEA, and career and technical education provide the crucial flexibility that states and local communities need to best meet the needs of all students. And I look forward to continuing to support these key programs in fiscal year 2026. Madam Secretary, I'm pleased that your budget proposes to increase another important program, the charter school program. While West Virginia is fairly new to offering charter school education, we are already seeing promising results and expanded opportunities for our public school students. For example, the Wynn Academy in Bridge Valley, at Bridge Valley Community and Technical College, is an early college charter high school designed to provide a free, accelerated, dynamic degree program for juniors and seniors in the Kanawha Valley. The school was started to help local hospitals address the severe shortage in nursing, and has been so successful that it has already been expanded to include an advanced manufacturing track in partnership with Toyota. Students are enrolled in the college and graduate from high school ready to start their careers in high-need, well-paying jobs. The school is meeting the intent of other charter schools, using the flexibility they are granted to offer innovative learning opportunities to benefit students. With the additional funding for charter schools proposed in your budgets, I know that many more students across the country would benefit from opportunities like the West Virginia Wynn Academy. Secretary McMahon, this is a pivotal time for our nation's student loan borrowers. Borrowers have been forced to navigate an exceptionally confusing 4 years full of bad advice and unfair promises of illegal loan forgiveness from the prior administration. And as a result, 1 in 4 student loan borrowers is either in default or on a late stage of delinquency on their loans as of the beginning of May. And only 38% of borrowers are actually in repayment and current on their student loans. After years of confusion, the department must work to restore trust with borrowers by providing clear and consistent information about repayment. Student loan borrowers deserve that clarity in order to fulfill their obligations to repay their loans. I'm grateful that under your leadership, the department has begun the difficult task of getting borrowers back on the path to repayment, and I look forward to your continued progress. Secretary McMahon, the fiscal year 2026 appropriations process will be challenging. but I look forward to working with you to responsibly allocate our limited taxpayers' resources to programs that help provide the best opportunity for high-quality education.
I do have one subscriber emote. I commissioned some emotes that should be coming in about a week or so. Gonna do like 8 of them, I think. Yeah, it'll be basically just some standard emote stuff, but with the little character guy, the One Piece version of me, doing all the poses and whatnot. So I think that'll be pretty fun. Yeah, but that should be coming in like a week or so. We'll see. But I'm excited for those. Like,
for all students. Thank you again for being here today.
So a mutual friend of ours who's an artist, I don't know if he wants me saying his name on stream. You can probably guess who. But yeah, he's working on them. So.
Day, and I look forward to your testimony. Now I will turn to Senator Baldwin for opening statement.
Let me read this goddamn.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you, Chair Capito.
Give me the
and
goddamn
Secretary McMahon, thank you for being here today.
All right, let's do.
We're here to talk about the President's fiscal year 2026 budget request for the Department of Education. And I look forward to working with Chair Capito and all the members of this committee on developing a fiscal year 2026 appropriations bill that funds the Department of Education. But before we can turn to the next fiscal year, 2026, the department is still refusing to tell Congress and the American public how it is spending billions of taxpayer dollars this fiscal year. The department was required to submit an operating plan last month detailing how it was spending fiscal year 2025 appropriated funding, and it included $13 billion in funding it characterized as unallocated.
Nice.
That's flatly unprecedented and unacceptable. This committee needs to know how you're planning to spend appropriated funding, and our constituents certainly deserve to know how their taxpayer dollars are being spent. State and school districts need to know how much federal funding they should expect to receive starting in less than 1 month.
I should probably also make an
This administration obviously doesn't agree. Ironically, the budget request for next fiscal year includes more detail than the spend plan for this year. The lack of transparency combined with this budget request raises serious questions about what are you trying to hide and why. This all stems in part, Madam Secretary, because this administration seems focused above all else on dismantling the Department of Education to score political points, regardless of the impact on tens of millions of students, including some 800,000 public school students in the state of Wisconsin.
My goddamn keyboard.
Even issues I think we would agree are priorities, such as expanding career and technical education opportunities for students, will be undermined by this administration in the name of eliminating the department. I am very concerned by reports that you are trying to move career and technical education programs to the Department of Labor against mandates from Congress, and in a way that could harm students who participate in these vital programs. There's simply no reason to take this administration at its word when its actions
watch this till the ad break and then move on to, I think, the press briefing just wrapped up. Yeah, okay, so we can do that right after.
A different story. It has shown time and again, the more forcefully it says one thing, the more it is doing the opposite. So, Madam Secretary, you claim the administration's goal of eliminating the department is about returning education to the states. At the same time, this administration is attempting to exert more control than ever over the decisions in our schools and campuses. This includes demanding that states certify that they are not implementing DEI, which the department purposefully left vague so it could cut off funding whenever it chooses. The department has reversed billions of approved spending extensions with the assertion that the department could pick and choose which congressionally authorized spending to approve or not. And it includes the unprecedented assault on some of our college campuses to exert control over their classrooms and their daily operations. You claim eliminating the department is not about cutting funding, but giving more flexibility to states and schools. But at the same time, you are proposing a budget that would cut $12 billion from funding that supports students and educators. This proposal would eliminate dedicated funding for evidence-based literacy instruction.
Okay, so we should probably read the Higher Education Act here, because this could be, my guess is that this section, by striking carrying the same academic workload and inserting enrolled in the same program of study, so that's probably his attack on a cost, so his determination of aid depending on how tough the course load is, or the courses are, not just course load. We'll see. Same course of study, inserting same program of study. I have no idea. We'll see.
Support for homeless students and rural schools. The proposal would cut billions from programs that states and school districts can already flexibly use to meet pressing needs. And in place of eliminating all these programs, the budget proposes a block grant, a quarter of the size of the program that it replaces. The budget proposes to cut more than $500 million from education research and statistics, virtually shutting down production of and support for using evidence to improve student achievement. You are proposing to eliminate programs that support non-traditional students in higher education, including TRIO, Gear Up, and See Campus. And you are proposing to drastically reduce the maximum Pell Grant award by almost $1,700, which have a devastating consequence for our nation's lowest income students, including those looking to acquire new skills to meet the needs of local employers and in-demand industries. The math is simple. This budget significantly cuts federal education funding. This issue isn't just what's being proposed in this budget request, but what the department is doing right now. Last month, the department decided to not continue $1 billion in multi-year grants that were improving access to mental health care in schools. This includes funding provided on a bipartisan basis in response to the Uvalde school shooting that took the lives of 19 students and 2 teachers while injuring 17 others. Madam Secretary, a recent survey revealed more than a third of Wisconsin's high school students reported feeling depressed, sad, or hopeless almost every day for 2 weeks or more in a row. We need to be providing more mental health support for our students, not less. The department claims that these grants were not in the federal government's interest. I repeat that. The department claims these grants were not in the federal government's interest, but refuses to provide specific reasons why they weren't continued. This funding isn't simply numbers.
And then, so A is amended by striking low-income communities. For the purpose of this part, the term low-income communities mean communities in which I in paragraph... What? Hold on. Section 472A, cost of attendance. Okay, I see. So this is the whole thing. Okay. Cost of attendance. In general, for the purpose of the term in attendance. Paragraph 1. Cost of attendance mean tuition and fees normally assessed a student carrying the same academic workload as determined by the institution. So they changed that to and enrolled in the same program of studies. Tuition and fees normally assessed a student enrolled in the same program of study Okay, what? What's the purpose of that differentiation?
On a spreadsheet or receipts for a website. This was
Just
more than
adding
200
words.
grants in nearly 40 states actively being used to increase the number of counselors and mental health professionals in schools. That's how this administration defines providing more flexibility to schools, by pulling the rug out from under them when they're trying to address the mental health needs of students. Finally, Madam Secretary, while this administration clearly wants to eliminate the Department of Education, Congress has not passed any law to do so. Quite the opposite, in fact. Just 2.5 months ago, Congress passed an appropriations bill that provided funding to the Department of Education to carry out specific education laws. All laws that passed Congress with overwhelming bipartisan support and that direct the Secretary of Education to carry out specific activities to help ensure every student receives a high-quality education. I'm deeply concerned that you are planning to ignore this and will attempt to illegally impound funds and dismantle the Department of Education.
And then what they're going to have it changed
it will ultimately be students who will pay the price.
The same program of study.
But if the executive branch is allowed to do that and ignore the laws we pass, I'm not sure what we're doing here. Fortunately, I still have faith in this committee to reject that approach and to carry out our constitutional duties. Most importantly, I know we can do better for our nation's students than what this administration is planning and what this budget proposes. And I look forward to working with my colleagues to do just that.
Okay, so what this change would do, my read, is a judge has ruled federal prisons must continue providing hormone therapy. Oh boy, that's gonna stir some pots. Okay, so my read on this is it's not course load, it's determined by program.
Well, thank you, Senator Baldwin. And you see we've been joined by the chair of the full committee. I'm going to ask the secretary to give her opening statement first, and then I'll turn to the chair. Thank you. Welcome, Secretary.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chairman Capito, Ranking Member Baldwin, and distinguished members of the subcommittee. Thank you for having me today to represent the goal I share with my boss, President Trump, to responsibly eliminate the federal bureaucracy, cut waste, and
I know
get
what I'm going to
education
call myself.
Back to
Subcommittee
states,
member.
parents, and educators. With your partnership, the fiscal 26 budget will take a significant step toward that goal. We seek to shrink federal bureaucracy, save taxpayer money, and empower states who best know their local needs to manage their education in this country. We have reviewed our programs and identified spending that does not fulfill the mandate of trust the American people have placed with President Trump. We have cut old contracts that waste enriching private parties at taxpayer expense, suspended grants for illegal DEI programs, and now are putting forward a responsible budget request that reduces department funding by more than 15%. At the same time, we're working to make American education great again. In our conversations with governors, teachers, and parents across the country, we hear calls for accountability and more local control. That's our goal, to give parents access to the quality education their kids deserve, to fix the broken higher education industry that is missing.
If you need any incentive to sub, you'll be a subcommittee member, which I think that's a good job.
Led students
I might
into
be the first to
degrees
ever do
that
it, but I
don't
might be
pay
the
off,
best to ever do it.
and to create safe learning environments. We're holding institutions to account when they facilitate discriminatory or hostile environments on campus. A level playing field with limitless opportunity, I think, is a vision that we all can share. Our budget reflects this vision. Its cuts reflect a bureaucracy that is getting out of the way, and its continuations and increases represent smart spending that will help improve student
We're going bar for
achievement
bar in the big
and
beautiful
not
bill.
serve bureaucratic interests. Our goal is clear. Make education better, fairer, and more accountable by ending federal overreach and empowering families, schools, and states who best know the needs of
Oh my God, she looks like bro, you belong at bingo night.
their students.
fuck.
I'm eager to partner
What's her
with
background,
you
actually?
to make the vision of the future a reality and to ensure every child is part of it. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you.
Where's
and
my-
I'll turn to the chair of the full committee,
There it is.
Senator Collins from Maine.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Madam Secretary, let me first welcome you to the committee. I know that you care deeply about our students. We may have different views on how to best achieve the goals that we share, but
What? Linda McMahon, born, is an American politician, business executive, and former professional wrestling promoter? Is this... It's this Linda Mc... No. What? I feel like... What? It is. Oh my... I can't believe... I remember hearing... What? What? Okay, Board of Trustees. Okay. That's nice. About okay, so she has been involved somewhat. Okay, she's on the Connecticut. Okay, I see. There is something. There's something to be said. It's about on par with the rest of the background that Trump officials have. So, okay.
I do not question for a moment your deep commitment to education
always wild.
and our nation's students. I've been very concerned that we've seen a drop in performance by our students that occurred since the COVID
study.
Unwise closures and prolonged closures of schools, and continued in the Biden administration. And that's something that should concern us all. Is there anything to
that? Of course.
I'd like to turn to the TRIO programs.
Like
Upward Bound. That's an issue that you and I have discussed. From my experience in Maine, I have seen the lives of countless first-generation and low-income students, not only in Maine, but across the country, who often face barriers to accessing a college education changed by the TRIO program. I'm actually wearing my Maine TRIO pin today. Just to emphasize my support for that program. In fact, 3 of my own staff members went through the TRIO program and tell me that they would not have pursued higher education but for the support and confidence that the TRIO program gave them. The president's budget, unfortunately, in my view, proposes to eliminate the TRIO programs. And as co-chair of the Congressional TRIO Caucus, I strongly disagree with the president's proposal. Could you explain why the administration has decided that TRIO programs are not worth the investment that they make in people's lives and the robust bipartisan support that they enjoy due to their success?
Want me to answer now?
Please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I know that these programs are very near and dear to your heart. We have had
what is this?
at least
What's
two pretty lengthy conversations about them. And TRIO will be funded through the end of this year. So all those funds will go out. But it is not proposed to continue in the 2026 budget. What we found is the programs, while I absolutely agree that there is some effectiveness of the programs in many circumstances, these programs were negotiated at very tough terms. In that, the Department of Education has no ability to go in and look at the accountability of TRIO programs. It specifically eliminates our ability to do that.
Okay.
And I just think that we aren't able to see the effectiveness across the board that we would normally look to see with our federal spending. So while there are, I think, many instances, and I believe also that Chairman Capito even worked in TRIO for a while in her earlier years. I do think there is effectiveness of many programs that I'm just not sure the total expenditure warrants. I do know, however, that
3402,
Congress does control the purse strings. And I would sincerely hope that if you decide with appropriations to continue these programs, that we could work with you to renegotiate those terms that we feel kind of hamstrung the Department of Education in not being able to fully understand their accountability. That's a real drawback in these programs, and I think all of us would agree we want to make sure that anything that we are funding, we can attach accountabilities to it.
Well, as with the Job Corps program in the Department of Labor, I think the answer is to reform and strengthen those programs, fix what's wrong, increase accountability, not abolish them. And I look forward to working with you in that regard. I want to move to another issue, and that is a bill that Senator Kaine and I've introduced.
They just hand me a button to run a minute ad? No one's here.
Of the Jobs Act. What it does is allow students to access federal Pell Grants to pay for shorter-term job training programs. A lot of times you can get a license in a trade to become an electrician or welder, for example, or a certified nursing assistant without going through a 2-year community college program. That may be the best option for some people. It isn't for others. Would you support the concept of allowing Pell Grants to be used for short-term training programs that result in a license or a certification for a job?
Well, you're really speaking my language, Senator, and thank you very much for that. I wholeheartedly support these workforce Pell Grant options because I've seen in many instances, we have 8 million open jobs in our country. Our workforce is definitely not being fulfilled by, by the proper workers. So let's get these young people who don't need a 4-year college education into the workforce sooner. I'm in agreement that even when they're in high school, we should start these programs in high school leading into apprenticeship programs. But the workforce programs, the short term you're talking about, I also think they can be stacked in credentials so that you can really propel yourself into be a stronger economic contributor. So I'm all for those.
Great. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Senator Baldwin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Secretary McMahon, during your confirmation hearing, when asked about spending appropriated funding, you said, quote, if they have been appropriated by Congress, those funds should be disseminated, close quote.
There we go.
You also said that eliminating the department is not about cutting federal funding for schools.
This is unhinged, what you have to do to actually know what's fucking changing. This is your tax dollars at work. Oh my God. I have to have the billets. I mean, I guess it makes sense. I have to have the billets changing, the changes, the consolidated changes to the the potential updated, and then this bill changes, so you gotta see the changes to the changes. Anyways.
Now we have a budget request that significantly cuts funding for public schools, students, and educators. Now, a few days ago, the OMB director said that impoundment is still on the table, threatening to take funding away this year. And we have your spending plan for this year that still leaves more than $8 billion, in your own words, unallocated. Not spending these funds is the administration making a decision not to.
All right, the ad ran. I'm going to watch the press secretary here. Oh, my Lord Jesus. Not a chance I'm watching that shit. I cannot have that on the screen. Let's see. What? Why can't we hear this guy? What? Wait, why is it... Hello? Why is my... Is the tab muted? Why? Are you muted? No. This...
To invest in...
No. What the hell is going on? Press secretary.
The DOJ finds that the auto
President announced
on yesterday. So
Okay. Weird.
their tax dollars to do is great for Kennedy. Egg prices have dropped.
No, the audio's only on the left. Make it mono. Sorry.
Meeting, I would defer you to his team.
Thanks, Caroline.
Accordingly, ex-offender who.
All right. We had it. We had it for a moment there.
It's good to see all of you.
Is it?
I want to start by addressing the horrific act of violence that took place on Sunday in Boulder, Colorado. President Trump and the entire administration's hearts go out to the victims, and they are in our prayers during this unimaginable time. According to reporting from Fox News, the alleged attacker admitted in an interview that he wanted to kill all Zionist people and had been planning the attack for over a year and would do it again if he could.
Horrific.
This monster used a makeshift flamethrower and Molotov cocktails to light Jewish Americans on fire in an attempt to burn them alive. The victims at the incident location in Boulder were there to rally in support of Israeli hostages who remain in Hamas captivity. 12 were injured, including a Holocaust survivor. This is pure evil. The Department of Justice has already filed federal hate crime charges against the alleged perpetrator, and he will be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. This tragedy is a sobering reminder of the consequences of the Biden administration's failed policies. According to the Department of Homeland Security, the Boulder suspect is an Egyptian national who is sobering already filed federal hostages who remain in Hamas captivity. 12 were injured, including a Holocaust survivor. This is pure evil. The Department of Justice has already filed federal hate crime charges against the alleged perpetrator, and he will be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. This tragedy is a sobering reminder of the consequences of the Biden administration's failed policies. According to the Department of Homeland Security, the Boulder suspect is an Egyptian national who is in the United States illegally. He entered the U.S. during the Biden administration in August 2022 on a B-2 visa until it expired. Upon the visa expiration, he overstayed, filed an asylum claim, and was given a work authorization by the Biden administration. Instead of deporting this heinous...
That's legal, though. That is... Like, something could be bad without it also fitting very nicely and neatly into the narrative they're trying to push. This attack is horrific. He's not here illegally. An asylum claim is still legal, right?
individual, Joe Biden's administration allowed him to stay in our country and to work. President Trump sounded the alarm over these reckless Biden policies for years because this is the predictable result of letting anti-American radicals and illegal immigrants pour into our country. Immigration security is national security. And that's why the Trump administration, at the direction of our great president, has secured our border, strengthened our immigration system, and has taken immediate steps to protect the United States from foreign terrorists and other public safety threats. President Trump acted swiftly upon taking office to reform our visa issuance process to ensure that dangerous aliens who are intent on harming Americans or our national security interests are no longer admitted into our country. Under the Trump administration, aliens will only be admitted into the United States through the legal process and only if they do not bear hostile attitudes towards our citizens, our culture, our government, our institutions, or most importantly, our founding principles. Under President Trump, the United States has zero tolerance for foreign visitors who support terrorism. Violators of U.S. law, including international students, will continue to face visa denial or revocation and deportation. And illegal alien criminals will continue to be arrested and deported from our country. On that note, ICE and federal law enforcement partners just wrapped up a month-long surge operation arresting nearly 1,500 illegal aliens in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. During the enhanced operation, dubbed Operation Patriot, ICE Boston and other federal law enforcement personnel focused on transnational organized crime, gangs, and dangerous illegal alien offenders throughout Mass. More than half of the nearly 1,500 illegals arrested had significant criminal convictions or charges pending against them. Here are just some of the violent illegal aliens who were removed from communities in Massachusetts during Operation Patriot. A Salvadorian national with active Interpol red notice for aggravated homicide. A Guatemalan national and registered sex offender who had pending criminal charges in Boston for 5 counts of indecent assault and battery on a person 14 or over. A Honduran national who was last arrested for rape, indecent assault, and battery of a person 14 or over. A Colombian national charged with kidnapping, aggravated rape, and indecent assault and battery on a person 14 or over. And a Guatemalan national who was convicted of murder in Boston. Also, a Brazilian national who was charged with aggravated rape of a child by force and possession of child pornography. Again, these are people who were living in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And lastly, a Salvadorian national whose criminal history includes charges of aggravated rape of a child by force.
Hey, Beck. How's it going? Yeah, so Beadley was here, the one, the only, for a minute. He was in the car. I don't think he's still here. Yeah, so, this looks like the typical, but this is also what we're going here. Hold on, let me just move my face out of the way so you can see what we got going on here. Basically, what I'm doing, or like interspersed, is it is text maxing, but it's the important stuff, I've got the Higher Education Act, which the big beautiful bill is amending, the sections that they're amending and tracking what they're changing. Yeah. So, and just trying to, I guess, understand, because I think one of the big topics of today is going to be this big old hearing by the Senate Appropriations Committee for the Education Secretary, who is also, I forgot about this fun fact because the news goes so goddamn fast, Vince McMahon's wife and worked for the WWE. It really is straight out of Idiocracy. How did we get here? It's so goofy. It's so goofy, but wow, what a time to be alive, huh? ROG, Republic of Gamers? I don't know. Anyways.
I don't think anybody in this room wants these types of heinous criminals in your communities. And it's thanks to this administration that they are being removed from our country. When Democrat-run jurisdictions release violent illegal alien criminals back into communities after making arrests instead of turning them over to federal
And that doesn't make any
enforcement
allusions
like
to anything else. Oh yeah,
those Democrats.
Two questions. Do you know anything about this Palantir shit? Because I don't know. I've been seeing some news about that. Secondly, there was a huge ICE raid in fucking Boston, I think. Yeah.
Democrats are putting law-abiding Americans at risk. And these insane policies force law enforcement officials to make much more difficult arrests that put their lives, our law enforcement lives, in jeopardy. President Trump is incredibly grateful for our heroic officers on the front lines getting these violent illegal alien invaders out of our communities. Law and order is back.
We'll look into both of those a little bit.
And on that same note, there are new crime statistics that show crime is plummeting. In fact, Politico summed it up like this: murder rates are
again, we'll do a little research on it. I want to put a dent in the education bill. I don't know if I can do the whole thing, and then we'll do that. There's a lot of stuff today, and I've set aside like 6 hours of fucking time to stream. I'm gonna try and do like 12 to 5 or 12 to 6 range, and then clip up all my shit afterwards, because some of the stream clips do pretty well on TikTok. So yeah, anyways.
Homicide stats are down at least 20%.
Let me know if there's some audio rebalancing I need to do. Wait, link the talk? Yeah, 1 sec.
Over last year. And we could be on course for the lowest number on record. With President Trump in charge, the days of criminals being put over victims are over. On the topic of immigration, the Washington Post just ran one of the most ridiculous headlines ever, even by their standards. And on my very first briefing several months ago, I said I would hold anyone accountable in
this one's the banger.
The Washington Post actually had this headline: the mysterious drop in fentanyl seizures on the U.S.-Mexico border. How is this mysterious? There is no mystery about why
goddamn shit! Look at all
coming
these.
into the United States.
Wait, I'm a sub to myself?
Strong border policies are the reason there has been a decrease in fentanyl trafficking. His strengthened relationship.
I guess it just gave me all the badges.
And all of the measures he has been taking to deter illegal human and drug
I didn't sub
trafficking
to
at our
myself,
United States
did
southern
I?
border
No,
is the
because it says
reason
I have 0
for
subs.
plummeting fentanyl seizures at the U.S. border. There is nothing
Yeah, I don't
mysterious about that, and we'd like to see the Washington Post update their headline accordingly. This is clearly trying to intentionally manipulate the minds of the Americans, and I think the American people understand why there's been a fentanyl drop. And our office responded to this inquiry. We provided a whole host of the reasons that fentanyl seizures at the southern border have dropped, and the Washington Post refused to run them, and that's despicable.
I don't know. I'm having
news,
an artist's mutual friend of ours. I'm not going to name on stream unless he wants me to. Later, I've commissioned him to do some emotes. That's all going to be like the profile picture, but like one's going to be like pogging or frustration and all that. So I'm looking forward to that. This should be coming in about a week or so.
Economic reports continue to flood in. Inflation dropped to 2.1% in April. Personal income increased 0.8% in April. So inflation is down and wages are up. That's almost triple.
Gandalf the Third, how are you? I am wonderful. How are you, brother? How's it going? What happened to the other two Gandalfs? Well, I guess we know what happened to the first one, but...
The expectations and against the doubts of nearly everyone.
All right, hit me. What do you got? I'm a little scared. How would you react if an inventor from your country tried to raise an army to invade? How would you react if an inventor from your country tried to raise an army to invade? I would not feel good about that. Is this does this allude to Musk? Reason I ask is this. Oh, okay. Let's. Wait, fuck. I should know this. Hit me. Just.
Everyone in this room. And we also saw the largest monthly decline in the trade deficit on record as a result of President Trump's very powerful
is this Myanmar?
Lastly, the price of eggs has dropped more than 61% since President Trump took office in January. I remember my very first briefing, I was asked about the cost of eggs. The reporter tried to insinuate it was this administration's fault, even though he had only been here for a few days or weeks. It was a result of the previous administration's terrible policies, and in record time, this president has fixed that problem that he inherited from Joe Biden, and now egg prices have dropped 61% since this president took office. There's a lot of good news, and I'm sure you have a lot of questions, so let's get to them. We have just the news and our new media seat today. Amanda Head, thank you for being with us. Why don't you kick us off?
Sure, thank you so much.
Saudi
there is a
soccer
disturbing
player?
trend of anti-Semitism turning into terrorism. Of course, the Boulder, Colorado instance that you just mentioned, the 2 Israeli embassy staffers who were murdered, Pennsylvania governor's mansion with the Jewish governor inside.
Do you have a good source on like a background of this? There's a Kuwaiti? Okay. What the fuck? Kuwaiti activist flees the UK after conviction over Saudi criticism. I'm going to butcher this, sorry. Solomon Al Khalidi has come to the UK as the country experiences hottest temperatures since record began. Having supposed his life in Kuwait. Of course, he's not. It's okay. It's where he was. Insulting. Is this the guy whose dad was also arrested? This doesn't feel like the same guy unless it. Active through Twitter defending settled Luke status and end their suffering. Murder of Khashoggi. Sweets or what? Then he went. Yeah, okay. I've heard like tangentially about this. But I would love to know more.
Didn't consider this domestic.
Anyway, but in the meantime, we're also going to listen to the demon face of the regime. Whatever. No, I'm not going to do that partisan hackery, but she does scare me. Like she is. What's her face? Caroline Leavitt is stupidly good at being the face of MAGA and is just willing to look people in the eyes and lie. And everyone knows that they're lying. It's crazy. This is like... What? Oh, wait, do I have links banned? Here, let me do that. Let me do some settings. Nightbot. Oh, it's... sorry. Okay, I have the link up.
Terrorism, and as such, are there official alerts to law enforcement, BOLOs, task forces, things like that?
The president has made it very clear, as he said in his statement yesterday,
I got your
that
link.
yes, these
I'll
anti-Semitic
configure
acts of
Nightbot.
violence are do qualify as terrorism, and he does not want to see terrorism or violence.
It does look like
of
the
any
half-hour
form
ad break
taking
is coming
place
up,
in the United
so
States of America. And as for
apologies for
specifically
that.
anti-Semitic
It
terrorism
should just be a minute and a
anti-Semitic
half.
acts of violence and those that are targeting Jewish Americans,
There's
this
been
administration has done
Jesus.
more to combat that violence than
From
any
Iraq to
administration in history. And one incident is one too many. And I think, frankly, that's something the previous administration...
Yeah, Iraqi history is one that I'm trying to dive as deep as I can into like the whole Middle Eastern history, but there's a lot going on there. And also, I was looking at my oh, sorry. I'll see y'all after the ad break. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can still hear me or not, but I'll do some reading of this in the meantime. Regular state misuse of a cell phone. Oh, cool. It's charged me to be a little moving artists for practices. Fantastic cruise. Again, I don't know if y'all can hear me or not. I'm pretty sure it's just ads right now, but. Okay. Welcome back. Sorry, I have the ads at every half hour for a minute and a half. I think that's... I don't know. Let me know if they're like just too much, but anyways.
Was not willing to say.
So we'll
this
have
president
this going.
will stand up for Americans of all religions, of all faiths, of all creeds, and we will continue to look at policy measures and actions that we can take in addition to the actions that have already been taken to curb this anti-Semitic violence. And to Jewish Americans at home, across the country, this president has your back.
And then on another issue, back in February, Secretary Kennedy created a commission to re-examine the childhood vaccine schedule. But there are still states outstanding like California, Connecticut.
So he's Kuwaiti. He's voicing against the Kuwaiti monarchy. Okay, this is okay. And then he went to Iraq, then Iraq extradited him back to Kuwait. Am I getting this right? Hold on.
Exemptions for kids not only to go to school but to participate in sports and extracurricular activities. Would the president want to see religious exemptions allowed across all 50 states?
Yeah, I mean, welcome to the channel, by the way. Very happy we have some, I guess, Middle Eastern representation here. Yeah, it's previously been pretty much US and UK. And when I looked at my stats and I saw Iraq, I was like, holy shit, that's awesome.
And how do you enforce that, especially with states like California that are already defying the president on the men and women's sports issue?
Generally speaking, I know the president supports religious exemptions for families when it comes to vaccinations. As for the instances in those specific states, I'll have the administration and the White House look into it and see what executive action, if any, we can take on that front. Thank you. Kelly.
Good afternoon. We're now in hurricane season, and obviously there is great concern every year about the potential for that. Can you speak to how the president is planning to have the level of support should it be needed?
Hey, Googly, how's it going? We're doing a lot of things at the same time at the moment. Yeah. Yes, channel. Yeah. You guys can suggest some channel point stuff to do. I don't really know what I could do. I guess I could do like a next topic button for like a lot of channel points. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, just let me know. Or slot break. Or maybe I'll charge you channel points to suggest videos or something. I don't know. Next up. Yes. Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah. That worked its way into my lexicon. I almost forgot the origin.
To be as it has been with a reduction in the workforce, and is he still comfortable with Administrator Richardson, who had talked, whether joking or not, about not being aware of a hurricane season for this country? What is the president's level of briefing on what may be required? If you could give us kind of an overall update on that.
Sure. Well, of course, we know that we are into hurricane season now, and I know FEMA is taking this seriously, contrary to some of the reporting we have seen based on jokes that were made and leaks from meetings. But Secretary Kristi Noem and the FEMA leadership are all over this. They are committed to ensuring that federal resources and tax dollars are there for Americans in need.
FEMA, the head of FEMA saying, wait a minute, we have a hurricane season in the U.S.? Yeah, shit's really weird all over the world. and we're gonna cover all of it. I will look it up.
And the president continues to review requests for emergency aid,
Saudi.
carefully considering them. However, this president has made it clear we're not going to enable states to make bad decisions with federal tax dollars and then have the federal government later have to bail these states out. We want to see states.
Yeah, and Saudi Arabia is going to be in trouble too because, well, the entire Gulf really, because oil prices are down. So this is going to be fun for a whole host of people. Let me. Yeah, true. They'll make up all of that lost oil revenue with. Yeah, possibly. I mean, you're kind of seeing difference. Sorry, I was reaching out. I'm doing a video on pharmaceutical benefit managers, and I'm reaching out to some people that have sponsored bills about that. There are anarchist punks increasing in Indonesia. Kuwait has a large percentage of ex-Muslim. Egypt has millions of atheists. Syria has just opened up their stock exchange. We are all hoping and praying for Syria to work out. Yeah, I mean, that just, yeah, I mean, really hoping. I mean, you're seeing more, inclusion of the Middle East within trade agreements. I think it's good. I think they're good steps, and we're slowly working towards a better, I guess, I don't know, like a better coexistence. But actually, there's a serious Islamophobia problem though in the U.S. that we have to root out. Like in the wake of that attack in Colorado, there were U.S. senators and like congressional representatives and really big figures saying Islam has no place, or Islam is incompatible with Western society. It was just like, dude, fucking shut up. Oh my God, that would be awesome. Yeah, dude. So we're gonna do our part here. Yeah, it's just it baffles me, right? But yeah, I mean, their steps are being taken to, not erase, but recover from the rocky relations we've had for a while, and I'm very hopeful. Yeah, so anyways.
Be responsible with their tax dollars to do as much as they possibly can, and then the president will deeply and thoughtfully consider any requests for federal aid that come to his desk. And I think some of the media reporting we've seen on this is frankly sloppy and irresponsible. There are serious people who are taking this issue seriously, starting with the president himself, who, as you know, on his first domestic trip back in office, visited both North Carolina and California, both of which were, of course, hit by natural disasters.
Yeah, but North Carolina, he was like, here's all the money you need. California, he's like, get on your knees and beg. What?
When he wasn't even president, but he took ownership of that and visited those places and those people immediately.
Brian. Hurricane season appropriate, though, now that this is serious business, as you talked about?
It's serious business, Kelly, and I'm not going to engage in such fodder with a question like that. Brian.
Thank you, Caroline.
Well, I turn socialist and liberal, I'd probably move. I mean, yeah, that is a good point and a good, like, hypothetical to pose, because it does seem like there are people that want, like, Christian nationalism to be the predominant ethos of the West. Whereas a lot of, like, countries in the Middle East are moving away and towards, like, a more from, like, Islamic fundamentalism towards, would secular be the right word? States? But yeah, again, like, it's, everything moves slowly. It's not that nothing ever happens. I'm not one of those fellas. Shit happens, it just happens slowly. Anyways,
Reuters
what are the...
reporting that there is a letter that is meant to be sent to other countries, which would give these countries a deadline of Wednesday to produce their best offer on the trade matter. Why does the administration feel the need to send this letter? And I have one more follow-up on trade.
Sure, I can confirm the merits and the content of the letter. USTR sent this letter to all of our trading partners just to give them a friendly reminder that the deadline is coming up. And they are in talks. Ambassador Greer, Secretary Bessent, Secretary Lutnick are in talks with many of our key trading partners around the globe, as you know.
I'm the fucking best. All right? Yeah, and you're never gonna catch me having a Hassan moment where I can't find fucking Yemen. I know where Palestine is. I know where Israel is. Y'all fucking clip it. I know my goddamn countries. Let's fucking go. I am clipping that. Does he know? All right, cool. Clipped and shipped. I have no idea. I have no idea what goes on in the Pitcairn Islands. I just know that they're islands and they're small. So, we'll see.
No, Brian,
I
know the Wall
guess.
Street Journal has covered this quite heavily, and they continue to be engaged in those discussions, and this letter was simply to remind these countries that the deadline is approaching and the president expects good deals, and we are on track for that, I will emphasize.
On the trade side, though, when the deal with the United Kingdom, there was this idea of a reprieve on the auto tariffs. Is the president looking to do another similar deal on the sector-by-sector reduction in tariffs, or is this more going to be
Me guessing me knowing that they might be the Pitcairn Islands was not an endorsement of the Pitcairn Islands. Let me put that disclaimer out there. What?
deals related to the reciprocal tariffs that were announced months ago?
What's the
well,
wait
as
for?
I've said previously from the podium,
Oh,
the
I see,
president has discussed as well. Each country has unique advantages, unique challenges to it based on their markets and what they export to us and what we export to them. So that's why the president smartly advised his trade team to engage in tailor-made deal making, and we saw that with the United Kingdom, and
reference.
we will see that with other countries as well.
San Marino to Syria.
Does the president support the Senate moving forward with a bill
Big
imposing
Italy?
heavy sanctions on Russia?
Look, the president has spoken about his position on sanctions on Russia. He has smartly kept this as a tool in his toolbox if necessary. But I think the Senate and everyone on Capitol Hill respects the president is the commander-in-chief for a reason. And as you know, Russia and Ukraine engaged in direct talks yesterday. That was at the encouragement of this president when he spoke to both leaders of both countries via phone just a couple of weeks ago. And so I would just like to remind everybody how far we have come in just 4 months. I mean, it was inconceivable last year at this time for Russia and Ukraine to be engaged in direct talks. And it's because of the president's insistence and determination to get this war to an end that these countries sat down yesterday. So he's willing to use sanctions if he needs them, and the Senate and the Capitol Hill understand that the president is the commander-in-chief and he's leading United States foreign policy as he should.
Iran, the president said that the U.S. would not allow for any uranium enrichment, but the proposal offered to the Iranians reportedly allows for low levels of enrichment. Can you explain that discrepancy?
I'm not going to comment on alleged details of the report. We're not going to negotiate through the media out of respect for these ongoing discussions and negotiations that Special Envoy Witkoff is leading. The president made his position very clear on truth.
There's fucking, these people have no concept of walking the walk versus talking the talk.
Social last night. In fact, it couldn't be any more clear, and I would reiterate that's his position. Special Envoy Witkoff sent a very detailed and acceptable proposal to the Iranian regime that the president hopes they will accept, and if not, they will face grave consequences, as the president himself has reiterated. Sure.
Thanks, Caroline.
You're welcome.
A couple of things, if I may. Firstly, can you confirm whether or not President Trump is going to be going to the NATO summit in The Hague later this month?
I can confirm he will be going to the NATO summit, yes.
Great, thanks. And another question on the Netherlands, in fact. Just wondering if you have any reaction to the collapse of the Dutch government there after the anti-EU and anti-Islam leader Geert Wilders, who's been described as a Dutch Trump, pulled out of the government there.
I don't have a comment on that, but certainly.
Did I not hear about Dutch government collapsing?
Brett.
Thanks, Caroline. I wanted to ask, a couple days ago, the president announced that he was withdrawing the nomination of Jared Isaacman to lead NASA.
We'll follow up on that one after
citing a
Fruit
thorough
Guesser.
review of prior associations. I wondered, why did this review happen just now after the nominee was so far into the process?
I was away for a goddamn second. Russia's Air Force, like nuclear Air Force, gets annihilated. The Dutch government collapses. Oh my god. Dude, what is going on in the world? What a time to get into politics, huh?
And can you explain?
All right, who knows where this is from?
Look, the president reserves the right to nominate individuals to key administration posts. He also reserves the right to remove those individuals if he chooses, just like he reserves the right to fire anybody in the executive branch that he wants.
This is definitely
a new replacement for NASA will be announced very soon, as the president himself said.
Was there something in particular that came up that caused the president concern with this nomination?
The president wants to ensure that all of his nominees are aligned fully with the America First mission of this administration. And again, he will be announcing a replacement very soon.
As a resident of the Nutmeg State.
Thank you, Caroline.
Canada first?
It's been just about a month since President and Prime Minister Starmer announced...
I can't see you all the way back there.
Well, he's very
there you go.
Why are they loud now? God, I hate these people. Their policy's bad, yeah, but their audio balancing is just atrocious.
So it's been just about a month since Prime Minister Starmer and President Trump announced that the U.S. and U.K. had reached a trade deal.
That's gotta be right.
Deal. Now there are at least some conservative MPs in London who are complaining that Parliament has not yet seen the text of any deal. So I'd like to ask you from this side of the pond, is there a text for the deal ready to be released, submitted, and
props to the lads
not,
up north,
when
I
can we
guess.
expect it? And then I have one more.
There's most definitely text with this deal. There is language that this side has seen. You'll have to ask the UK Parliament why they haven't seen it from their own government. I obviously can't answer that question.
And on Caroline, one more on Ukraine,
go ahead,
please.
Jonathan. Sure, go
I
ahead.
want to say like China
Ukraine
for this.
It's been a couple of days since Ukraine made that audacious drone strike on Russian airfields. The president hasn't said a word about it, and usually he's not shy about making his thoughts known on the war, or it's not bad, on the war or any other subject. What have you heard from him on this?
Apparently, Zelensky called and cleared the strike with Trump. That's what I read. Not 100 on that, but I'm pretty sure.
Audacious drone strike. Is he surprised? He said that Zelensky didn't have the cards when they met in the Oval Office a few months back. Does Zelensky possibly have some cards that the president hadn't known about?
Look,
yeah.
The president's thinking
well, I mean, you saw. So I keep pausing, but there's just so much to say. Anti-Hassan, you're pausing too much. Just let the video ride. Anyways, yeah, I mean, Trump finally got the picture that, this Putin guy's not so good, huh? With that fucking Truth social post he made the other day. It was like, man, I thought I knew this guy, but he's really going crazy. We're like, yeah, welcome. The rest of the world's been here for like 5 years now or longer. What were you up to? He was under the table in the Kremlin.
On the Russia-Ukraine war as it stands, I spoke to him about it just this morning, is he remains positive at the progress that we've seen. Again, he urged both leaders to sit down and talk directly with one another, and they did that. Russia handed over a memorandum of peace, or a peace plan, or a suggestion of one, I understand, to the Ukrainian side. Plane. They also agreed upon the exchange of prisoners or hostages from each other's countries. So he remains positive about the progress that we're seeing, but he also is a realist, and he realizes these are two countries that are at war and have been for a long time because of his predecessor's weakness and incompetence. So he's working hard to solve this conflict, and that's where his mind is right now on it. Jonathan, go ahead.
Thank you.
Peace talks went fucking nowhere, by the way.
Same topic, just to put a finer point on it. Does President Trump approve of Ukraine's decision to strike nuclear-capable bombers
Europeans?
in Russia?
Who the fuck is this?
I would like to let the president speak on that himself.
And just to follow up, has the president...
I would just add to that. The president does not want to see this war prolonged. He wants the fighting to stop, he wants people to stop dying, and he wants this to be solved at the negotiating table. The reason he is so deeply involved and has spent so much time and effort on this war is because he hates to see people dying. Again, these are not Americans that are being killed. These are Russians and even Ukrainians. This is a war very far away. But this president truly cares about peace, and that's what he wants to see.
What is President Trump doing to ensure that a similar internal drone attack doesn't happen here in the US, given this was done at pretty low cost, very stealthily? It obviously raises questions about our own security, particularly for US aircraft here.
It absolutely does, and that's why the president nominated Secretary Hegseth and has approved some of the changes that have been made at the Pentagon to ensure that we have the most lethal fighting force in the world, and that the United States military is the best.
Oh yeah, that's the 2012 horse, Brown edition. I don't fucking know, man.
The biggest. That's why he wants the One Big Beautiful Bill to be passed, because it increases our defense spending. It's why he also launched the announcement of the Golden Dome to prevent from
there were
strikes and attacks
no
in
hot
the future.
ship.
And the president has a full understanding, I can tell you, because I've spoken to him about it, about the future of warfare and how drones are a big part of that. And I will not get ahead of our policy team, but I think you can expect to see some executive action on that front in the very near future. Caitlin.
Two questions for you as well. On the Big Beautiful Bill, you said recently that it is, quote, blatantly wrong to say that it adds to the deficit. You essentially said that an estimate from the Congressional Budget Office and other scorekeepers you believe are wrong. But Republicans like Ron Johnson and Rand Paul disagree. They are saying that it will add to the deficit. That is their concern. Is the White House's position that those two Republican senators are, quote, blatantly wrong?
It is. Those senators, it's not news that they disagree with this president on policy, and the president has vocally called them out for it and for their not having their facts together. I would add the Congressional Budget Office has been historically wrong. In fact, they predicted the Trump tax cuts from the president's first term in 2017. Their prediction was wrong by $500 billion.
Rifle.
To a Republican since the year 2000. But guess what? There have been many staffers within the Congressional Budget Office who have contributed to Democrat candidates and politicians every single cycle since. So